Just think of a dangerous killer who would kill any human and turn them into a statue. This shocking story begins by showing a lady who was making a mask inside her house. This mask was entirely made of wax. The lady had a son who was sitting on a bench and eating. Suddenly, her husband comes in with their other child so he can eat too. But then we find out that their second son is very stubborn. He wouldn't sit on the chair and was trying to run away. At that point, her husband completely tied up that foolish child. However, that child still wouldn't stay in one place and kept wandering around, trying to escape. Even when his mother came over to handle him, he bit her hand, which made her very angry, and she started to hit him. This strange scene was cut here. Now, we are shown a moment some time later, where 7 friends were going together to watch a football match. They were all very happy because their team had reached the finals for the first time. So, they decided to spend a night camping in the forest before going to watch the match the next day. One of them had a camera and was recording everything. Everyone was having a great time, but suddenly they noticed a strange smell around them. It smelled like some human or animal had been killed and thrown away. However, they didn't pay much attention to it and got busy with their night out party. But soon after, a truck approached them, shining lights on them. All the people asked the driver to leave because he was disturbing their party. Despite repeated requests, the truck driver did not leave, so one of the friends threw a bottle at him, breaking one of the truck's headlights, which made him drive away. After having a lot of fun, everyone went to sleep in their respective camps. Then, we see one of the friends, a girl named Kylie, who felt like someone was watching her. And she says, "I'm really scared, like someone is staring at me." Then we see that an unknown entity is recording everything using their camera. However, nothing happens to them, and morning arrives. But here, Wade is quite troubled because his car has broken down. It appears that someone has damaged his car from the inside, rendering it unable to run. Brad and his friends believe that it must have been the truck driver who did all this. Nevertheless, they had to find a way to watch their team's football match. Meanwhile, Kylie and her friend are wandering and exploring the forest. Suddenly, Kylie slips and falls into a pit. When she reaches the bottom, she starts screaming because there were many dead animal bodies piled up there. The truth is, the smell they had been noticing was coming from the rotting animal bodies. Upon hearing Kylie scream, Wade and all his friends rush to help her. Kylie gets the biggest scare when she sees a severed human hand among all those dead bodies. Everyone quickly helps Kylie up and takes her to a safe place. Just then, a truck arrives, and a man named Lane steps out. Lane begins to explain to them that things aren't as they seem. He pulls out the severed hand and shows it to them, saying that it's a fake hand and they shouldn't be scared. Lane's behavior seems strange to everyone, especially since he looks at Kylie in a rather creepy way and laughs. Then, in the next moment, Lane tells Wade and Kylie that if their car is broken down, he can take them to a place where they can find spare parts, so they can fix their car and leave. Since Kylie and Wade needed to repair their car, they agreed to Lane's offer. Meanwhile, the other friends had already left in their cars to watch the football match, but they encountered a lot of traffic on the way. For this reason, they decided to return to the camping area. Wade and Kylie were now in Lane's truck, but they both felt that Lane's mental condition was not right because he had a lot of sharp weapons stored inside his truck. Lane drops them off in a nearby town where they might find spare parts for their car after exploring a bit. When Wade and Kylie arrive there, they notice that there aren't many people in the town. All the shops and houses seem completely empty. For the time being, they travel into a church, where a man named Bob emerges. After explaining their problem, Bob replies that he has a gas station, and they can find spare parts there, but they need to wait for half an hour because he is busy with some important work. So, Wade and Kylie have to wait, and they start exploring the large town. On the way, they spot a shop named House of Wax and feel curious about what might be inside. Although the door has a closed sign, Wade is determined to go inside and find out what's there. Wade and Kylie begin to brainstorm on how to get inside. They manage to enter the house and start exploring around. To their surprise, they see numerous wax figures that look so realistic that they can hardly believe their eyes. The entire house is filled with these figures. Wade finds all of this quite exciting, so he starts examining the different statues. He notices a dog statue in another room, but as he approaches it, he realizes that it's not a statue at all but a real dog. This feels a bit strange to Wade. Meanwhile, while Kylie is exploring the house, she goes near a mirror and sees an unknown man with a mask over his mouth watching her. He then quickly runs away. When Kylie tells Wade about all this, they both exit the house and travel toward a garage nearby. Wade was going to get some spare parts for his car, but he couldn't find the important things he needed at that place. Just then, Bob arrived, telling them that he might have all the solutions at his house because he also had a truck, and they could take any equipment they needed from it. Wade and Kylie liked this plan, so they started heading to Bob's house. On the way, Bob told them about a very famous place in the town called the Trudy House of Wax. A long time ago, a husband and wife lived in the town, and the wife's name was Trudy, after whom the House of Wax was named. They had 2 children, one of whom was very mischievous and stubborn. Kylie said she would wait outside, and Wade went inside the house with Bob to grab some supplies and use the bathroom. Kylie waited in the truck parked in front of the house, trying to contact her friends, who had returned to their camping site. However, it didn't take long for Kylie to figure out that the truck she was sitting in was the same one that had repeatedly honked at their camping site earlier. She realized this from the broken headlight of the truck. Kylie understood that this place was very dangerous and that their lives were at risk, so she immediately called her friends for help. Unable to connect the call, she sent them a voice note while repeatedly honking the truck's horn to signal Wade to come outside. When Wade heard these signals, suddenly all the lights went out. He couldn't understand where to go in the dark. Then, from the floor of the house, something emerged with a severely damaged face and a large size, which quickly approached Wade and bit his leg. Wade screamed loudly, and his cries reached Kylie, but what could she do in such a situation? Just then, Bob rushed out of the house, indicating that he was also connected to all these events. Currently, Bob was also trying to catch Kylie, but she cleverly locked herself inside her truck and managed to escape. Not knowing where to go, Kylie ran into a nearby church, only to be shocked when she realized that all the people inside were wax figures. Their craftsmanship was so perfect that they looked like real humans. Terrified, Kylie grabbed the hand of one man, only to have it break off completely, revealing human veins and bones inside the wax. This dark reality revealed that all the figures present were once real people who had been deliberately turned into wax statues, and it was definitely Bob who had converted them into wax. Before Kylie could escape the church, Bob arrived and captured her, bringing her back to his house and locking her in a basement. Kylie screamed loudly, so Bob put glue over her mouth to silence her. At the same time, we see a dangerous masked man named Vincent, who had attacked Wade and injured him. This indicated that Bob and Vincent were in cahoots. Vincent had locked Wade in one place and was severely stitching up the wounds on his body. He began to torture Wade by slowly pouring hot wax over his entire body while sitting him in a chair. Vincent was essentially converting Wade into a wax figure while he was still alive, and perhaps he had done the same to the others. Wade couldn't react at all because his body was paralyzed. Vincent had brutally turned Wade into a living statue, creating a terrifying and painful scene. Meanwhile, when Kylie had made the call, her team, including Nick and another teammate, arrived to search for her. They came to the petrol pump and started asking about Kylie, where Bob spotted them. To cover up everything, Bob approached Nick and Leo when they asked about Kylie at the petrol pump. Bob clearly stated that he hadn't seen any girl named Kylie. He then took both of them to the other side to avoid raising any suspicions. However, Kylie was in the basement of the petrol pump with glue all over her mouth. She tried to call out to Nick and Leo, but her weak voice couldn't be heard. Finally, Kylie managed to open her mouth and screamed for help. Nick immediately heard Kylie's call and headed towards her. But then, Bob attacked him and tried to kill him. Fortunately, Nick escaped and rushed inside the petrol pump, locking himself in to protect himself from Bob. Nick's first priority was to go to the basement and rescue the trapped Kylie. However, they couldn't see Bob anywhere, as he was currently very dangerous and could take their lives. We also learned that the old woman who constantly watched everyone from the window was also a wax figure. Meanwhile, Leo, another teammate, had entered the wax house because he was looking for Wade. We see Wade's wax figure sitting in front of a piano, which Leo was calling out to. However, Leo had no idea that Wade had completely become a wax figure. Even though Wade was still alive at that moment, his eyes were moving, and he was trying to tell Leo to leave. As soon as Leo grabbed Wade's face, the skin started coming off because the wax had fused with his skin due to burning. A little later, Vincent suddenly appeared and attacked Leo. However, the blow hit Wade instead of Leo, instantly killing Wade. Leo was trying to escape to the basement to save himself, but Vincent used his sharp knives to take Leo's life, splitting his body in two. Thus, Leo was also done for. At the camping site, Nick and Wade's other friends were present when one of their black friends received a voice note from Kylie, which she had sent to her friends for help. However, as they listened to that voice, Vincent arrived and immediately killed the black man. The black man's girlfriend was also there, trying to hide, but it seemed that no one could escape Vincent's grasp. Vincent quickly threw a knife from the car, which struck the girlfriend's body, killing her instantly. Vincent then picked up a video recorder that was lying there and began recording all the dead bodies. It turned out that the one who had stolen their camera was none other than Vincent. Meanwhile, we see Nick and Kylie, who went to a weapon shop for protection. They each picked up different weapons to defend themselves against any imminent threat. However, it wasn't long before Bob spotted them. So, Nick and Kylie managed to escape into a movie theater. Inside the theater, many wax figures were seated, and they began to act like statues among them. Bob arrived at the scene with a shotgun, searching for them. He spotted Nick and started firing. However, Nick had a bow and arrow, which he used to attack Bob's hand, causing him to fall. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Nick and Kylie fled that place. They headed straight to the House of Wax to save their other friends. Here, Bob, who was severely injured, had come to his brother Vincent, who lived in a separate apartment in the House of Wax. Nick and Kylie wanted to learn as much as they could about the situation, so they began to investigate. Inside a drawer, they found some photos showing two children whose bodies were conjoined. It later confirmed that these two children were none other than Bob and Vincent. The doctor Bob had told them about was their father. Bob then went home and started applying wax to his brother Vincent's body, creating his mask. This confirmed that Bob and Vincent were brothers, and they killed everyone who came here. Inside the House of Wax, Nick and Kylie found the dead bodies of many of their friends. Kylie was horrified to see Wade's dead body and started screaming. They even spotted Leo's head, which Vincent had killed. Nick and Kylie were extremely frightened, but they had to remain calm. Nick took Kylie to the basement area and turned on all the switches, activating the electricity throughout the town. Now Bob and Vincent realized that Nick and Kylie were in the basement, so they began to approach them with the intent to kill. Nick thought they could set the place on fire and escape, but before he could, Vincent arrived. To stop Vincent, Nick went to confront him and started throwing strange things at him. Due to the spreading fire, Vincent couldn't see anything, and Nick and Kylie took advantage of the moment to flee. However, Bob wasn't far behind. He stepped in front of Nick and started attacking him. Kylie helped Nick by using a baseball bat to injure Bob significantly, leaving him unable to react. Gradually, the fire Nick had started spread from the basement throughout the House of Wax, causing the wax figures to melt and fall apart. Shortly after, Vincent arrived and, seeing his brother Bob's condition, became furious. He charged straight at Kylie to kill her. Kylie managed to escape into a room, but Vincent cornered her from all sides. She tried to reason with Vincent, telling him that his brother had misused him and that he should think carefully about whom he was working for. But it seemed that Vincent was completely psychotic and impervious to reason. As Vincent attacked Kylie, Nick arrived and began to pull Vincent away, leading to an intense fight between the two. The fire had spread throughout the entire house. During the fight, Vincent's mask came off, revealing his terrifying face for the first time, which left Kylie in shock. Vincent pulled out a knife and stabbed Nick in the leg, causing him immense pain and leaving him completely defenseless. But Kylie rushed to help him, yanking the knife out and using it to stab Vincent, pushing him away. Vincent then crashed through the floor down to where the fire was spreading, landing directly on top of his brother Bob. Because of the fire, their bodies began to fuse together again. In childhood, their bodies had been conjoined, and they had been separated during surgery, which had disfigured Vincent's face, causing him to wear a mask. But after taking so many lives, it seemed their end would come as they were engulfed in flames. Nick and Kylie started looking for a way to escape and managed to get out of the House of Wax. The house was burning down, and everyone inside had perished. When the police arrived the next morning to investigate, they discovered that the town had been shut down, and no one knew whether it even existed. The two brothers had secretly lived there, killing anyone who came. Nick and Kylie were rescued and taken away, but the police revealed one more shocking detail. The family had not two sons, but three, who had worked together. Although the two brothers were dead, who was the third brother? As Nick and Kylie were leaving, they spotted Lane, who was the third son. Unlike his brothers, he was separate and quiet. He wanted to live a normal life, not torture others. And this is where our story ends.